Hello, my name is Julie Breuer, and I'm going to interview you for the World Trade Center Oral History Project. First, I'd like to thank you for being here and being willing to share your story with us. As you know, the purpose of this project is to give you an opportunity to share your personal perspective of the 9/11 disaster and the work and the response effort afterwards, and your involvement with the rescue recovery effort. By sharing your story, you are helping us capture 9/11 in a very unique way and also in a very personal way, and we believe that these stories are going to be very important for our own nation's history, as part of the record of what happened, and also it'll be helpful for educators, people who are looking for this type of material so they can teach about 9/11, for researchers, and just for the American public to understand what 9/11 was all about from people who were actually there and witnessed what was going on. As you recount your story, I'm going to ask you to share as many details as you can. And I know that this is sometimes difficult to have to go back and remember the details and talk about it, but it's serving a greater purpose, and I really want to thank you ahead of time for being willing to share your story with us. Just before we start, I just want to do a final sound check, and if you could just please state your first name and then just spell it.
My name is Neil, Neil.
Okay. And the starting time of the interview is 2:01. Okay. So I can call you Neil?
Yes.
Okay, good. So just to begin with, this is our first time meeting, and so I don't really know much about you, and I'd like you to just, introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about who you are. Are you a native New Yorker? Where were you born and raised? Can you tell me about your family or what you do for a living?
Sure. My name is Neil. Mm-hmm. I am 44 years old. I'm married. I have a 14-year-old girl and 11-year-old triplets, 2 boys and a girl.
Oh my goodness.
And they were actually born on 10/11/01.
Oh wow.
I grew up in Queens, Astoria, mm-hmm. and fortunate enough to move to Long Island. Mm-hmm. And actually right before I was a teen.
Okay.
I went to the police department and was hired in 1993, okay. And unfortunately had to retire in 2003. Okay. And since then, I've been a pretty much stay-home dad, mm-hmm. and had the luxury of raising my kids and watching them grow.
Wow. So you must be pretty busy with 4 kids, pretty all close in age,
yes.
Right? All pretty much preteen teenagers. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gets a little crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you have how many boys?
I have 2 boys and a girl.
2 boys and a girl.
Those are the triplets,
That's
yes.
the triplets, and then you also have a
14-year-old girl.
14-year-old girl.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So, tell me what it was like growing up in New York for you, growing up in Queens.
It's much different than I would venture to say growing up in Long Island. Mm-hmm. We didn't have the luxury of going to a pool in your backyard, or mm-hmm. Having the luxury of playing on the lawn. Mm-hmm. But we had the finer things, playing stickball off the stoop, mm-hmm. and on hot days we'd go to the roof and go to our little Rubbermaid pools, yeah. Or go downstairs and open up the hydrants, mm-hmm. and cool off. Yeah, those were good days.
Yeah. Do you come from a big family?
Yes, a very large family.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. My immediate family is just I'm actually a twin myself.
Oh, okay.
I have a twin sister and I have an older sister, but the extended family, I have a very, very large family.
And they all are from the Queens?
My dad's side of the family's from Brooklyn, and my mom's side's from Queens.
Okay, so did you get to, as a kid, did you have
lots of absolutely, and still do today. I mean, fortunately, everybody decided to move to Long Island afterwards. It was actually my dad making the first move. It was like Moses parting the Red Sea, so to speak, and everybody trailed. So, yeah, it was nice.
Okay. With becoming part of the NYPD, is that something as a kid you kind of always wanted to do, or when did
it's really odd because I'm definitely the black sheep in my family. So I thought there was high expectations for me to be this, white-collared businessman. And, my dad was such a grounded individual. He's awesome. He's my mentor. He saw that I was struggling with the idea. And I remember at a very young age taking a lot of civil servant tests, only because it was at that time my sister, my older sister, that was engaged to a police officer, and he encouraged me.
Okay.
Just take it. You can't go wrong. If they call you, call you. So, it was at that time. I was, in my young 20s. My dad saw me struggle because I was trying to make it in the world of marketing.
Okay.
And I just remember one day he grabbed me by my hands and he said, "Listen, this is probably not be cut out for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you could put your head on your pillow at night knowing that, X, Y, and Z could happen."
Yeah.
He said, "God made us in various ways to work with our hands or work with our brain." So he grabbed me by my hands. If you work with your hands, that's not going to mean that you're any less of a man than me.
Right.
So I was very fortunate. I was called, in the police department, and I went into the academy in 1993.
Okay.
At that point.
That's great. So when you first started off, did you start off as a police officer?
Yes, I was a police officer. I worked in the 10th precinct, which is in Chelsea, if you're familiar with Chelsea. We covered 7th Avenue to the West Side Highway, from 14th Street all the way up to 43rd Street. And I remained there not so long, I would say a few years, but made, an abundance of friends and a lot of great memories. And, I had the opportunity to go to the Organized Crime Control Bureau as an undercover.
Okay.
That was the only catch.
Yeah. So you did this in like the 80s, 90s?
The very mid portion of the 90s, I went to the Organized Crime Control Bureau.
Okay. Can you just, people watching this from all over America or even maybe other countries, New York is kind of a unique place.
Yes.
NYPD has a lot of, it's a reputation. People see it
Right.
on TV a lot, right? So, people have their images of what it must be like, your job must be like. But could you just kind of give like a down-to-earth perspective of?
It's very diverse. I mean, it's the melting pot, of, I would say, the world. You have very, walks of life in New York City. And I, for myself, I have such a kinship towards working to the city. I mean, it was a great experience for me. I could not, think of a better place for anybody to start a career is to work in the city. The amount of people I met in my path was just amazing. And the experiences that I had the opportunity to take part of helped me grow to who I am today.
Right. So it sounds like it was a very rewarding career for you.
Looking back, I mean, I can't say performing the scope per se. It's now looking back. I can honestly say that, wow,
But when you were in the...
You take it for when you take a lot of things for granted, and you look at yourself. At least for me, I'm just the average Joe. But when you have a bit of quality time to yourself and reflect and realize what you have seen and done, you're not the average Joe. What people, what I would like to tell a person is, you couldn't fathom what I could see in one day. You wouldn't be able to understand it, nor probably your worst nightmares wouldn't amount to what I've had to deal with in that day. So,
a lot of challenges for you as a person.
There's challenges every day. There was a lot of unexpected obstacles in my line of work. And, as I said before, it helps the person grow. It can make you or could break you.
Right. Did, just from a value point of view, did it make you stronger in like your personal values?
I would definitely say you get to see how other people live, and I realize how fortunate I was, especially with the family background I have. I had a very strong backbone as far as family was concerned, values, but when I became an undercover, it was a different element. It was a different beast, and my job scope was, I couldn't even give you a script to it because there was it's whatever I ran up upon for the evening. And I dealt with the beast up close and personal. I did what nobody wanted to do. And it's not something that you read out of a manual. And yeah, actually what I did, you would have to put on your best performance in order to save your life or your life of another person.
Did you, I mean, I'm just curious, did you, in seeing how, like you say, how other people lived, you know, did you ever, like, did it change your view of, like, mankind or, like, people? Like,
you know, people have their different views, you know, and I understand, so a lot of the times, police officers especially carry this stigma of this dry sense of humor, and that's because we bleed the same color everybody else does, and I don't think the layman understands that we take our problems home, whether they want to believe it or not. We're not built of cast iron. We breathe the same air everybody else does, and things hurt us. And as I said to you before, there's things that the average person does not have to deal with, and you know, it definitely could take you, and it definitely could put a damper on your social life. But that's why cops in general would always have form this dry sense of humor, would laugh at things to where a normal person would want to crawl out of their skin.
Right.
Because this is the things we have to deal with on a daily basis.
and you know, also I think a lot of people, and this is a stereotype, but I think there's some realness to it, is that there's a bond between, you know, police officers, maybe because of these experiences that you kind of all share that everyone else doesn't.
Yeah, I definitely call it the safety net for me, because people wouldn't understand. I always like to say it's people choose not to see things, or people really don't see it. And people don't want that choose not to see it because they don't want to have to deal with it.
Right.
That's where we, you know, picked up the pieces.
Right.
We had to do all the above, you know.
So you were working undercover at the time of 9/11.
Yes.
Were you working that day?
Yes, I was.
You were already in the city, or were you in transit?
I planned my day out. I usually would drive in at times, because I remember that day in particular I was doing a double. I was actually going to finish my tour till 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And then I was going to restart my tour probably like 8 o'clock at night and work right around. So I just remember waking up early. It had to be 6:30 in the morning, and I'm like, wow, what a, you know, just a beautiful day out. So I called a couple of the investigators that were on my team, because we were actually taking a case down that day, and that was actually a court day for us, and I had to go testify on a certain case. So I'd made mention that I was going to meet them, because normally I would not be allowed to travel with them, because I wasn't allowed to be seen with, you know, members of the service.
Right.
But a lot of the times I would go to the office and sign in, and possibly get a car and drive myself down to court. But this day, I said, this was just too nice of a day, you know.
So court was where?
100 Center Street.
So right downtown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So in relation to the World Trade Center, can you describe how many blocks?
Blocks away?
Just blocks.
Yeah, just blocks away.
Yeah.
Blocks away.
And what time were you supposed to be in court?
Well, generally speaking, court starts at 9 o'clock. So you have to be punched in at Center Street.
Right.
At that time, I was early, I remember. I remember coming out of the hole. Let me rephrase that, because I don't know if people understand what the hole means. The subway. I took the E train down from Penn Station, and I remember getting out at 8:41 on Chambers Street.
Okay.
I remember calling as soon as I came out to one of my investigators to let him know that I was out and I'll be meeting him, shortly. And I was just reading the back page of the, Daily News, reading about the Yankees because playoff season, and sipping on my iced coffee and just remembering what a great day. It was just beautiful out.
So you were outside?
I was outside already.
Reading,
And I was making my way down, Chamber Street, walking. And that's when, for some reason, I decided to look up because it sounded like a blimp, one of those Goodyear blimps. Yeah. And it wasn't. It was the first plane.
Overhead.
Over my head, yes. So at that point, didn't know anything about flight patterns.
Right.
I guess I was in shock.
Yeah.
And
you saw that it was a big plane. It was.
I got to be honest with you. You didn't realize how big the World Trade Centers were till that plane got to it, and those towers dwarfed that plane. It actually looked like a small plane to me at first, and I had that unfortunate experience of watching the plane hit.
And you're just in shock.
I wasn't slack-jawed. I was in disbelief. I thought this was a very serious accident, and was trying to assess it in my head. I really couldn't tell you how long it took me to assess, but I do remember there was a street vendor, and I had advised him who I was, and I showed him my ID, and I said, I got to get there. Could you help me out? He said, sure, what do you need me to do? And I just wrote down a list of contacts, with my name and everything, and I gave him my bag, which, contained my paperwork that I was going to use for court. And I told him, if I don't come back for this, just, please call these numbers. So he took it, and I made way down to Broadway, and I remember running towards the Trade Center. I guess you want me to just...
Yeah. What were you thinking?
I wasn't thinking of anything.
It was just a reaction that
it
you
was
were
just a
going to
reaction.
go and help and...
I remember getting to the front and just remember how chaotic it was. And this is where I lost my train of thought, because this wasn't mentioned to me till months after the incident. I had actually called my sister, and she said I had told her I was at the foot of the North Tower, because she could actually hear the chaos and the sirens and the screaming, and she said, you're there. I said, yeah, I'm here. So she said, well, what are you doing? And I said, and I don't remember this. She said, I don't know, but I know I have to do something. And I said, if anything should happen, just tell everybody I love them. And she said, my eyes are burning and my face feels like it's burning. I gotta go. And that was it.
But you don't recall that at all?
No, prior, and this is where I lose and I jump and I get a little scattered. I do also remember calling my office and advising them, what had taken place.
Right.
And I was advised not to go there by supervisor, and I was in not a good state of mind, and I told this supervisor, do you forget who we are? Yeah. And that's when I made it to the tower.
So there's a lot of chaos around.
Yeah, it was it wasn't so chaotic in the beginning, because no one really could assess what the heck really was going on. To me, at first, it just seemed like a really freaky accident. So I just remember, I have only had the opportunity to be in that tower once, and that was actually 5 months prior. A friend of mine had flown in from Florida that used to live in Long Island, and he was a broker, and he was day trading, 5 months prior on the 84th floor. So I remember, going up 84 floors to see him. I just remember looking down, and I was a little shook because I have to admit I have a fear of heights myself. So I didn't know much about the tower other than that I knew that people were scurrying about, and I was starting to notice there were a lot of injured people. So we were ushering them out towards the West Side Highway at that point. I remember the secondary explosions and the objects that were floating, and they weren't pieces of paper, that was sheets of metal cutting and dicing things up. It was pretty crazy. And then the bodies that ensued after, who was kicking and screaming coming down, and who might have been already deceased on their way down, and it's a little bit helpless feeling.
Yeah.
I think that was the probably worst part for me, not being able to help some of those people, So I remember that there was a very major impact, and that was the South Tower getting hit. And I didn't see it, but I certainly felt it. During this period of time, that's where my memory was a bit jaded. My wife managed to get through, and that was only because my dad had implored her to call me, because the night before he was in Toronto, and he wanted to know what my day was going to be like the next day, and he was very proud, And I told him, we're finally taking this case down, and I'll be at court. So he had the common sense to call home, to ask my wife where I was, and he implored her to call the office, and the officer told her I didn't show up
to court.
So he encouraged to just keep on trying, and I don't remember again. But she said all she heard was just screaming, and I really didn't say much. And she actually went into pre-labor with all the emotions because
Oh gosh.
she was on a monitor that was connected to the phone, and they were able to monitor because she was carrying the triplets.
Right.
So they had called my house. I come to find out later and said, you're going, you're stirring.
You're getting induced, being stressed.
And they had to take her to the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been really rough for her.
Yeah, looking at it now, it's probably more rough for them than it was for me.
Because they knew nothing other than
that
you were there.
No, other than my sister, contacting my sister, I spoke to him, and then, my wife really hearing the brunt of it on the inside.
Yeah.
So, I saw many faces that day. Come in, come out, all type of, rescue workers and laymen at their best.
Right.
And doing whatever they could do. And there was actually a point of time that people were screaming out that we were getting bombarded from the harbor.
Oh.
And then I was hearing, a lot of buzz that the Pentagon got hit.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't a good thing.
But you didn't really know what was going on.
I had no idea. I didn't know. I was in this fight mode, and I had tunnel vision. And I remember on a few occasions, whether it was firemen officials or members of the service, the police department, told me to leave. They didn't know who I was.
Right.
So this guy with long hair, so I remember taking out my shield and, you know, displaying it. And, you know, I remember one fireman said, you know, holy you're a cop.
Yeah.
You know, I had this nose ring in my nose and I had cornrows in my hair.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So did you team up with anyone? I mean,
No, there was no really teaming up.
Yeah.
I was, well, yeah, you kind of did. I mean, it was like a buddy system, but it was in and
But
out.
you didn't know who you were with?
No,
or?
it was one man would pull people out of the stairwell, and next man would go in. Or you'd find somebody with a bloody face, put them over your shoulder, and usher them out to the west side. I just remember going out to the west side a lot.
And you would drop them off, like?
Yeah, there was EMS outside.
Okay.
You know, fire department was outside. You just did your best just to get them outside.
Right.
At least, I mean, that's I didn't know from anything, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. I wasn't made, you know, for this day. I wasn't trained for this day. I just, you know, knew that safest way was to get anybody out of the doors. And there was one incident which I don't remember, but he was a good friend of mine. His name was Angelo Peluso. Angelo and I worked together in the 10th precinct. He died in 2006. He died of the illnesses, and I remember I went to go see them after the occurrence a couple of months later, and he used to call me Amnesia. My last name, but he was a prankster, and he said, you were crazy. You had this big, heavy guy. He must have been close to 300 pounds over your shoulder.
You did?
Yeah, running him outside. You were crazy. And
it was just the adrenaline and...
Yeah, you know, come to think of it, yes. And a lot of things that had jaded in my mind. But then what wasn't jaded was the screaming of the Maydays. And I didn't know from Mayday because that wasn't our terminology. That was a fireman, and that's when the South Tower came down.
So you could hear
You know,
people yelling, Mayday, screaming.
Yeah.
Where were you when it came down?
Well, I was in the mezzanine deck of the North Tower, and I was frozen. I didn't know what to do. There was another time where, you know, I had been at death's doorstep quite a few times prior to this, and I thought this was going to be my day. And I remember taking out, and I told her that I took a picture out of my little one that day, and that was it.
So what did you do? You were in the north.
I remember it was just hell at its worth. The worst nightmare that you could possibly experience, and it was not accessible to go outside at that time. And there were other people still coming out.
And all the
from
debris
downstairs,
was
from the
coming.
North Tower, I saw so many people run up that day.
People who ran up to help.